You're listening to Vaquero News, the Valley Student Station.
Good afternoon, Vaqueros. We're coming to you live from Edinburgh. It is 2 p.m. Monday, May 2nd, 2022. I am Maria Sanchez.
And I'm Rodolfo Alvarado.
And this is Vaquero News. Finals are approaching, as well as the end of the semester. For many, this means graduation and their next chapter. So keep pushing and end your semester strong.
On top of the newscast this morning, the State of the City meeting in Brownsville discussed the city crossroads. Silvana Verriel has more details.
On April 21st, the State of the City meeting in Brownsville discussed the city crossroads, providing a network platform to introduce citizens to the visionary and other important factors that will impact the community. The meeting starts with the President and CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, Esmeralda Villarreal, opening the meeting by welcoming everyone and introducing Mayor Trey Mendez. Mendez talked about projects that will change Brownsville's trajectory. On the economic side, the city has attracted several new businesses such as Tesla and Delivery Service, The Human Bean, and Blackbird Diner. City Commissioner at Large and Chairman of GBIC, John Cowan, talks about increasing the sales tax in our city.
The city's efforts to increase economic development is to build on our tax base and increase the sales tax in our city so that we can provide better services and more services to the residents.
These are some of the innovations coming to Brownsville. In the past 3 months, the City Commission approved the rezoning of properties on Boca Chica Street for a 24-acre development called Habitat Zero. The Austin Asteria development will house 125 energy-efficient homes with solar panels, Tesla wall chargers, and 30 EV chargers for the community.
The development, which is known as Habitat Zero, will be the first development of its kind in our community, but also in the United States.
The City Commission has approved the replacement of the current downtown parking meters to be replaced with new and upgraded ones that will fulfill the 21st century needs. These machines will replace the 300 single-spaced parking meters.
These new meters will allow for the use of credit cards, coins, and other smart payments.
The fiscal year contains the largest allocation toward capital improvement projects in the city's history, which means more money for infrastructure, streets, and drainage. A project that will happen in the future will be adding a third major hospital in Brownsville. This hospital will be adding 300 new job opportunities and over $40 million to our community.
With Valley Baptist and Valley Regional already well established, the addition of another hospital will give us one of the premier health systems in South Texas.
Mayor Mendez says,
We were also named one of the top 20 safest cities in the country this year.
For more information, you can watch the recorded video at State of the City, Brownsville, Texas. This is Silvana Villarreal with Vaquero Radio.
UTRGV Baseball played against the Longhorns last Tuesday in a historic game. Amira Garcia has more details.
UTRGV hosted the first game after 51 years against Texas Longhorns with the final score of 7 Texas Longhorns to UTRGV this past Tuesday, 26. The last time UTRGV hosted a game against Texas was in the Bronx College World Series season of 1971. Following an event of storms and a morning stuff-up with rain set the game's status up in the air, UTRGV Athletics but a covering for the time begging to defend downpour off before a helicopter was also brought to assist with the drying of the field at 3:50 p.m., over 2 hours before the game time. UTRGV Baseball Stadium in front of a single game program records an overcapacity crowd of 6,418. This is the largest known crowd to see a UTRGV baseball game against Texas in 1999, with the previous high water mark being 5,989 guests for the matchup in Austin this past April 5th. Fans were all over the place, seats standing closely following and remaining external the arena's outfield fence to watch the Vaqueros and Longhorns in real-life lines from 5 p.m. to wrap up on the two sides of UTRGV Baseball Stadium. Freshman Isaac Lopez scored a run in the bottom of the 6th, and graduate student Cameron Blake walked, setting up an RB single by junior Diego Ramirez to score 5-1. Lopez scored on a wild pitch one in the bottom of the 9th to put the Vaqueros 7-2. The Vaqueros will be back in action against UTSA San Antonio this Tuesday at 6 p.m. at the Alamo Dome. This is Amira Garcia for Vaquero Radio.
The results for the newly elected SGA leaders were announced on April 22nd. The winners of the executive ticket, according to the email sent by Dean of Students Rebecca K. Gatson, are Jonathan Ricardo Dominguez for SGA President, Kimberly Escalante for Vice President, and Jose Javier Herrera for Vice President, with the executive team receiving 565 votes, making up about 58.92% of the vote. Stay tuned to Vaquero Radio as we will sit down with the team this week to find out their plans as our newly elected executives.
And McLean goes up and throws down a monster dunk. That fires up the UTRGV Fieldhouse.
And now time for Vaquero Sports.
And now let's go with this week's sports schedule. You can watch the games through the ESPN Plus or WAC Digital Network. For more information, go to goutrgv.com.
Hello, Vaqueros. Here are the sports for the week. On Tuesday, we have at 6 p.m. a baseball game against UTSA in San Antonio. For Wednesday at 6 p.m., we have a baseball game at Texas A&M Corpus Christi presented by Navy Army Community Credit Union. For Friday at 6 p.m., we have a baseball game against Lamar in Viewmont, Texas. For Saturday at 2 p.m., we have a baseball game against Lamar University in Viewmont, Texas. And for Sunday at 1 p.m., we have another baseball game against Lamar University in Viewmont, Texas. I guess this will be a week for baseball. And that's all for the week, Vaqueros.
And now for this week's events calendar.
And now for this week's events. The Breakfast Wrangler, hosted by the Student Union, will happen on May 4th at 10 a.m., where students will be able to get a free breakfast with their student ID at Chapel Lawn in the Edinburgh campus. Mi Loteria, hosted by the School of Rehabilitation Services and Counseling and the Graduate Rehabilitation Counseling Association, will happen on May 5th at 10 a.m. in the ballroom in Edinburgh, Texas. And the Duckhead Trials, hosted by the UREC Sports Club and Housing Residence Life, will happen May 5th at 2 p.m. at the Duckhead property in Brownsville. Those are your events for this week.
Now for this week's campus weather report.
And now let's go with this week's weather report. For Tuesday through Thursday, it was going to be a dry, breezy, and warm days for the first half of the week, with a high of 100 degrees and a low of 73. On Friday, we have a chances of thunderstorms with a high of 100 and a low of 72. And that is your week report for the week.
Be sure to listen to Vaquero Radio on the Radio FX app. This will be our last newscast of the semester, but be sure to tune in next fall for Vaquero News.
Be sure to listen to Vaquero Radio on the Radio FX app. And that is our... wait. Also, follow us on our social media platforms or visit our website for updates and much more. We will see you next Monday at 2 p.m. here on Vaquero Radio, the Valley Student Station.
This has been Vaquero Radio News.